Hello. Thanks for joining us on Tips for the Transition, the Career Roadmap, where we help you discover new possibilities for your career and life. I'm María Tomás-Keegan, and each week I bring you inspiring conversations to encourage women to be more confident, resilient, and brave in their career and life choices. We stream live weekly every Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time on the E360 TV network, which you can find on your favorite streaming platforms like Roku and Apple TV and Amazon Fire. And we go live simultaneously on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, where you can interact with us. If you prefer to listen to your favorite shows on the go, we're on all the podcast channels as well. So if something inspires you today and you want more of it, please subscribe to your favorite channel, leave us a comment, share your favorite episodes. We love it when you share because that creates more ripples around the world for women. So my question for you today is, have you ever been in a gap? What the heck is a gap? And how do we navigate a gap? Well, those are the questions my next guest will answer for us. Stephanie Warlick, founder of 5 Foot View Consulting, is here to share her Stand in the Gap method, which has helped professionals and small businesses grow sustainably for over 30 years. Steph's experience as a hands-on consultant and her dedication to creating genuine equity, not just equality, make her a standout leader in the business world. Today, we're going to explore how becoming a solution provider can help you stand out in the workplace, how to foster a team mindset that creates success, and what you can do to build a more equitable and inclusive professional environment. So stay with us for this inspiring conversation with Steph Warlick. Hello, Steph.
Hello, Maria. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. It is my pleasure. I'm excited to have this conversation with you today.
I've been really looking forward to it as well. Thank
Yeah,
you.
good. All right, so let's dive in. So we call this show Stand in the Gap and Reach New Heights.
Yeah.
So stand in the gap sounds a bit like an oxymoron, but so tell us, what does it mean? What is the gap? And what does it mean to stand in the gap?
Yeah. Standing in the gap can mean so many things. For an individual, it could be standing in a place of not sure which direction to go. But I teach people about standing in the gap in the workplace, and standing in the gap in the workplace is finding that hole in the work that is not being performed, what the needs are of the organization that are not being solved by someone else, and solving the problem, becoming the solution provider. Stand there. I can't take credit for the name. My dear friend and former manager, Michelle, coined the term. When I would work with her and I'd say, Michelle, I'm so frustrated. I can't get this done. I can't get that done. No one's taking care of this and it's impacting my success. Can I just take care of it? And she'd say, Steph, if you want to stand in the gap, have it all day long and I've got your back. And I went forward.
And forward you did. I am I'm so intrigued by this definition of the gap. It was not what I expected when I first met you. And when you explained that to me, all kinds of ideas came up for me.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love is this perspective about what this gap could be. It's not necessarily someplace where you don't know what to do, right? Instead, for you, in your definition and where you've spent a lot of your career,
Yeah.
is identifying what's not being done
Right.
that needs attention in order for the rest of the machine to work effectively, efficiently,
Yeah.
better.
You nailed it, Maria. I might steal your words back for some of my marketing. I'm always thinking of a better way to describe that. But yeah, it to me, it always comes back down to being a solution provider. What does the organization need? And having been a small business owner and working in small businesses for most of my life, from the time I was supported by a family in small business, we wear multiple hats. It was never in my being to say that's not my job. It was just this needs to be done. This is in the best interest of the organization. If somebody else isn't going to do it, well, I guess I'm going to because it has to get done.
Yeah. And, that takes being a bit of a visionary, doesn't it? Actually seeing what isn't being done that needs to be done.
Do you think it's a visionary, or does it just take someone that's willing to roll up their sleeves and not say that's not my job?
Well, I think it's both. Honestly, but you have to be able to see the gap first, right?
Mm,
You have to be able to see what's not being done that could, if it were done, if it could be done,
mm,
it would improve things. People's
mhm.
jobs would get easier.
Yeah,
Your job would get easier. It's you said it. It's like this isn't being done. It would help me if
right,
it were done. Can I go do it?
right.
And yeah, I know you roll up your sleeves with all of your clients today as well. You're not just a consultant telling them what to do, but you
Correct.
actually dive in
Yes.
and help them close the gap.
Yes, I do. Thank you for saying that. I have used the term executive doer, and I don't want to appear as though I say I do assistant like work. But when I say executive doer, because I have been in the space of being a small business owner with just piles of paperwork all around me, and having even paid thousands of dollars for consultants to come in to dump a 3-inch binder of strategy in front of me and say, good luck, talk
Yeah,
to you in a few months, and then leave. And I'm
right.
looking at them like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I haven't eaten. I haven't gone to the bathroom. I haven't seen my family in weeks. When do you think I'm going to be able to do all of this? I'm speaking with customers. I'm delivering quotes. I'm delivering product. I'm doing the accounting. I'm paying people. I'm managing people. And so I really feel very strongly about going into small businesses and relieving small business owners of the things that are on their plate that they just need help getting done. And because of my experiences, I work really independently. um, I just start with them, talking to them about their biggest problems, and I just start plucking the low hanging fruit and get it off their plate. And that relieves them so they can really focus on what they love to do and what they're great at, that is really going to move the needle of the business forward. There's so many things that we have on our plates as small business owners that somebody else can take care of.
right. Yeah. Oh, that's so true. That is so true. Oh, I hear that.
Right. And I really encourage those owners to take on what they love and what they're good at, because and then to pass that methodology down to their staff, because people are always going to be more successful in the things that they enjoy doing and what they're good at. That's
Right.
really important.
Right. Right. Kind of sticking to their zone of genius, right? And allow others who have genius in other areas, right,
Yeah.
to
Right.
help them close the gaps.
Yeah.
That's and I see that this is not just a small business situation. This
Yeah.
happens in corporate America all the time,
Yes.
right?
It does.
Where the organizations are tasked with this big picture thing and they're trying to execute and deliver on the big picture, and what they're not seeing, and it's usually the folks in the trenches, right, who are seeing that
Yeah.
there are things that need to be done that are not being done.
Right.
And having the I do think it takes vision, having the vision, but also the desire
Mhm.
to be the one to say, let me roll up my sleeves and close that gap.
Yeah. think I will absorb further that you're calling it a vision because it's so innate in me and I've always done this. I don't even think of it as anything other than this is just what needs to be done. I mean, I reflected when I made the name of the company back to when I played rover on the softball field.
Oh,
And I literally had to run around the whole outfield because I was the only one that could get there to catch the ball. And I thought so. The original name of the business was almost the business Rover because I moved around to take care of whatever needed to be done in solve. And
okay.
turns out there's another business out there with that name. So I didn't go that way, but it's always been a part of me to solve problems. And but I think that in addition to visionary, and you said I think the will or the desire, I think it also takes a little bit of courage.
Oh, sure.
When we go into organizations, there's sometimes this, stay in your swim lane kind of mentality, and people feel threatened when you move outside of your swim lane. And it does take effort. I can't say that I haven't turned off people before because I've moved out of my swim lane and into their swim lane and they felt threatened by me. And it took some work to say, listen, I'm not here for your job. I promise. I have plenty of my own work to do. I'm just trying to make it better for all of us.
Right. And that opens up the opportunity to collaborate, right?
Mhm.
If you can have those conversations that kind of draw everyone in to
Right.
solve the problem, right? So
Yes.
let's talk about being a solution provider. I use that term all the time with my clients
Mm-hmm.
as a career coach because I suggest that they think of themselves
Mm-hmm.
not as a job seeker if they're out looking for another job,
Mm-hmm.
but as a solution provider. And
Mm-hmm.
when they think of themselves that way, they're not seeing problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're seeing solutions. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about how solution providers can differentiate themselves from the masses of people in the workforce and how that can affect the outcome, right?
Yes. I think the best way for me to describe how I behaved as a solution provider would be to give you some examples of things that I did that continue to grow my value within the organizations. So, one example I can think of off the top of my head, there was a woman that I wasn't necessarily very close with who was heads down on a project as everyone was walking out the door at 2:30, 3 o'clock to go to the holiday party. And she couldn't leave to go to the holiday party. And I stopped by the office and I said, come on, it's time to go. And she said, I can't. I have this deadline. I've got to get through this. It's due in an hour and I'll see if I can get there later. And I said, I'll help you. Let's get this done so you can get to the holiday party. And I stayed with her and she said, you don't have to do that. Like this isn't your job. But I said, but we're a team and we need to get this done. So let's do it. She could not stop talking about the fact that I stopped to help her. Whereas I just behaved in a way of, okay, this needs to be done for the company. And there's a deadline, and gosh, whoever wants to miss a holiday party. But more importantly, I wouldn't want to be left here by myself. Let me just help this person. It's no skin off my back just to take care of this. So that is one example of where then there was this, hey, did you hear what Steph did? And there was no ulterior motive other than helping this person get to the holiday party, and it just felt good to help someone. Um, so I could give you other examples like that, but I think I developed a reputation by doing things like that when it
Yeah.
wasn't my job.
And so this could be a double-edged sword though, couldn't it, Steph?
Yeah,
People see you doing that, and then there's a job to be done and nobody wants to do it. Now give it to Steph. Steph will do it because
yeah,
she does those kinds of things, right? And that could lead, unless we know how to set boundaries, right? It
yeah,
could lead to a lot of stuff being piled on us that creates a toxic environment. It creates the potential for burnout. So let's talk about that for a
Yeah.
second. How do you navigate that?
It's a really valid question, Maria, and I think a huge area of failure in a lot of my career was navigating that and learning to say no and finding a proper balance. I'm certain that I have been labeled a workaholic most of my life, but I also really love working. What I saw instead of, hey, let's give it to Steph and pile on, was the opportunity to learn and grow and learn new things that made me more valuable within the organization. So there was always a positive spin on it for me. And maybe it's my ADD, but I work pretty efficiently. And so, again, there have been times that I have worked probably more than I should have. But again, I learned and grew. And before I knew it, I had my hand in all types of projects and activities throughout the organization. So here we are coming to, one company. I survived 8 rounds of layoffs because I had a variety of skills and abilities that they could call on me for this project or that project if needed. Whereas this person who had less experience, because they didn't stand in the gap, they didn't become known as the solution provider, was said, well, this person is just singularly threaded. We can do without them.
Mm. Oh, that's such a good point. That's such a good point. Um, Thank you for turning that negative into a positive, because in this environment that we are in right now, that is so uncertain, it's volatile, it's ever changing, and people have to, in order for them to remain relevant, they have to think about reskilling, upskilling, broadening their skills, and showing their
Yeah.
relevance.
Yeah. Yes. I can give you another example. I was relatively new at an organization, and I worked side by side with a CRM. I'll save our advertising for brands, a CRM tool. And I worked side by side as a director of FP&A, and the person who ran the CRM tool left. And they said, hey, Steph, can you take on this work? And so I learned the CRM tool. And then just a few months after that, somebody else was leaving, the head of a department. And they said, hey, can you manage this department? And an individual that had been in that department for several years was actually offered the position first. And she said, no, I'm not taking that. That department is a mess. Why would I ever take that on? And I was like, why wouldn't you take it on if you're at rock bottom? You got nowhere to go but up. And it wasn't that difficult. It was a pretty well functioning, it was well staffed, I should say. They had to redefine some process to improve their quality, and I was able to do that in very short order. But gosh, that's the best time to take on a team, is when it's already struggling.
Yeah. So that takes vision. That takes vision. That takes being able to see the possibilities, right? So, yeah, it's a mess, quote unquote. It's a mess now, but seeing the possibilities that that you could where you could use the skills you have to improve the situation for everybody.
Yeah.
That takes vision.
I think what scares me a little bit about your you're going to think I'm arguing with you, and I'm not, but I want your
It's
I
okay.
want your audience to not feel like you have to be a visionary or you have to have these certain experiences to be this person. I think everyone has the capability
Oh,
of being of seeing this. Just open your eyes. It's right there in front of us every day. There's nothing special about me. I was not a great student, late diagnosed ADHD, struggled all the time, barely made it out of college. Thank God I did. I never went back for my MBA because I was overwhelmed by the thought of writing all of those papers, yet I've been hugely successful. And I really think it's just about keeping your eyes open for opportunity. There's nothing special about me, but that opportunity breeds opportunity, breeds opportunity, breeds
Right.
opportunity.
Right.
That's really important. Like anybody can do that.
And I'm not suggesting that having vision makes you special in any way. It just means that you're using a set of your senses
Yeah.
in a way that many people don't, right? You just said it. Just open your eyes
Right.
and see what needs to be done, what could be done to make it better, and have um, the courage and the tenacity to step into it,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
say, I can do this. I can lean in here, use all the skills I bring with me, develop some new ones in order to get
Mm-hmm.
it done.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you were just saying all that, I was thinking, gosh, every time I talk about this, it all comes back to standing in the gap, to solving a problem. It's not just a workplace thing. It's in your community. It's in
Yeah.
this open your eyes thing, the see something, say something. There's so many folks that just like, oh, that's not my business. I'm not going to do anything. I have my mom radar on. If I'm out somewhere and I see a little kid like with those wide eyes, like, where's my mom? I just be
Yeah.
like, hey, little person. And I'll just be like, this little person is missing their people. But a lot of people just walk by and like, that's not my job. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
not to be
Yeah.
depressing, but you think about all of the,
Yeah.
things
It's
like
that I don't want
children.
to get involved,
Yeah.
right? I don't want to
Yeah.
get involved. Yeah.
But, could we minimize child trafficking if people just opened their eyes and said,
Mm,
yeah, the protection of children in this space is my business? Because it's everywhere every day, right?
right.
Or helping someone that's disabled across the street. Why not? You're standing there on the corner anyway, and we're going to
Right.
walk.
Right.
So standing in the gap is so many little things that just add value and maybe perpetuate that random acts of kindness in my disability and inclusion space. I say let's turn random acts of kindness into intentional acts of inclusion, but that's all about standing in the gap to me.
I love that perspective. It broadens the aperture brilliantly so that we can think about um, how many gaps there are in our day-to-day lives,
So
right?
many. Yeah.
Where we can help somebody else because there's nobody else there to do it.
Yeah.
So we are standing in that gap,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And
There are gaps everywhere.
it does take different personalities. One of my friends, we were walking on a trail one day and I saw about 20 feet ahead of us, maybe 20, 25 yards, not very good with distance, this woman go like this. And you could tell she was just about to go flat out and run. And my friend had turned to take care of her dog. And before she even realized I was not by her side, I was sprinting toward the woman that had just tripped like I often trip. And I checked on the woman. She ended up being fine and things like that. But when my friend caught up with me, she said, Steph, you're that person that runs into the fire.
Yeah.
And I was like looking at her like, what are you talking about? She goes,
Yeah.
I stood back once I realized you were bolting away. I stood back and thought, oh, I hope that person's okay. Should I help? Should I not? Should I leave her alone? Should I do this? But you just ran straight for it.
Isn't
And
that
I
interesting?
like looked at her and I thought, that's interesting. That would have never occurred to me to pause and not run straight for the person to see if they needed help. Again,
Thank the
stand in the
good
gap.
Lord for people like you on this earth.
Well, I,
I
well,
want,
thank
I
you, but
want, if I fall, I want you to see it.
well,
I
thank you.
want other people to be like you.
Well, thank you. Why
Yeah.
aren't we all like that?
I don't know.
If we
I
all
don't know
wipe out
either.
on a trail with bloody knees and need help, wouldn't you want somebody to come help you?
Yes. 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 I can't answer that more emphatically. Yes,
I mean, be curious.
absolutely.
I
We want,
wonder that.
yeah, we want more people to be like you and see gaps everywhere
Yeah.
and ask in a nanosecond, what can I do to help? And for you, it's, I don't know what's shorter than a nanosecond. You don't even think, right? You're just off. You're gone. You've sprinted to the problem because you are a solution provider through and through, into your bones. That's who you are,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you teaching others how to see this and how to respond to it, I think is it's a it's a brilliant thing that you're doing, and I'm
Thank you.
very grateful that there are people like you on this earth.
Thank you. I really enjoy it. I feel so grateful to be this part of my life,
Mm,
this point in my life, and enjoy my work, solving that problem for small business owners, helping them, for individuals in the coaching, and then, like I said, the disability and inclusion space. There's just there were spaces that weren't being attended to, gaps that needed to be
yeah,
filled, and I'm doing it, and I'm really enjoying it.
that's fabulous. I'm so glad.
Thank
You
you.
said you're a mom.
I am.
You're a working mom. So how did that choice affect your career and your role as a mom?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that, Maria. I My favorite job in the whole world is being a mom, and I have twins. They're now 22. They just graduated from college, and they are both gainfully employed. So exciting! But how did it make my choice? I feel I was very fortunate to be a small business owner, and had amazing flexibility when they were young. I pretty much always knew I did not have the patience to be an patience, for lack of a better word, an at-home mom consistently. My mother-in-law was amazing and took them 2 days a week from the day they were born and home from NICU. And then we had a nanny after they turned one, because we took them to the office every day and they started walking and turning over garbage cans and pushing the buttons on the old school like computers that sat on the floor. And my staff were like, okay, this is enough now. That with the two dogs, they're like, the family needs to go home. But I was so grateful. And I did often worry. I actually was even criticized by a mom at a bus stop one time and said the problem with the world was working mothers. And
Oh,
I looked at her like, are you from the 19? Well, I don't even know what. Like, who says that? It's like where I live, it's not really an option for most parents not to work.
right.
But here's when I knew I had done it right. The girls were in about third grade, and every Friday afternoon I would walk and pick them up from school and bring them home. So it was 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and oh, my People magazine had arrived. And after a long week, I'd sit with a glass of wine and read my People magazine. And here comes 5 o'clock, and my husband actually comes home. We always drove to the business separately, so we had that flexibility. He came home, and the girls ran to the front door and said, Daddy, Daddy, we're so hungry. What's for dinner? And he looks over at me on the couch about 3 feet away and then looks at them like, they're starving. What are you doing? And he said, Mommy's right here. And I said, they didn't say they were hungry. And he said, did you ask Mommy for food? And they said to him, without a lie, you cook dinner and Mommy runs Colorworks.
Oh my God, that's
And
funny.
I was like, that's right, girls.
There you go. There you go. That's well trained.
And now they are both very successful individuals with a hard work ethic and thriving in their workplaces. So I love it. I think I did it right.
There you go. There you go. That's wonderful. Yeah. I know a lot of working moms. I was never blessed with children of my own, but I have children all around me that are now grown adults, and I've got their children around me. Um, but there are so many women who struggle mightily with this decision to work at a high level, right?
Yeah.
they are high performers, women leaders, and they still struggle with the mom guilt, right?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
That, I missed something that I would not have missed had I been
Right.
a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
But there are so many other things that working moms teach their children by example,
100%.
right? And
Absolutely.
that is hugely important.
It is hugely.
So yeah, it's and to each her own, right? As moms, you got to decide for yourself
Right.
what's the best thing for you.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely there are years of guilt. Years of
Mhm.
guilt. I mean, though I had flexibility, definitely. I mean, at one point over a 16-month period, I would leave Monday morning, come home Tuesday afternoon, leave again Wednesday morning, come home Thursday afternoon, and then work from home on Fridays because my job sent me that far away. And I said I would have to stay out there because I just couldn't commute 4 or 5 hours a day for the drive. Lots of guilt. But in the end, I think consistency and love, so that like helping children feel safe no matter what. Unfortunately, my husband was amazing and supported
Yeah.
them at home, but consistency and love is the key. I mean, we have to work. It's a fact of life. We need to make income to,
Yeah.
frankly, to provide them for the life that we want to give them or
Yeah.
that they want, keeping up with activities and things like that. And there's a lot of people that would not, in fact, be happy as stay-at-home people,
Hmm.
and our children don't want us to not be happy. I think we do have a lot of opportunity to teach them and be positive role models, living a fulfilling life in other ways, and it sure does help when they go off to college.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And they grow up so fast.
They do.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the challenges that you faced. And how did you what were they and how did you overcome those in the workplace?
This is one I haven't actually ever talked to anyone about, Maria. So, wow, you're really good at digging in for those things. I think that the greatest challenge that I experienced in the workplace was Mean Girls.
Oh,
I thought
okay.
about that, and my mom actually asked me during the Me Too movement. She said, "Have you ever experienced this?" And I told her honestly that I said the harassment that I have received in the workplace has been from other women, feeling threatened by me coming in and again maybe having a salary that was along the same line of theirs, or after they'd been there for years, or a title. And not knowing that I had earned that from wherever I came from as I transitioned to that organization, and that's tough, because I also experienced feeling left out even in high school, at certain points. So it kind of brings back some of those old memories. But that's how have I overcome them? I mean, frankly, I hit them face on and just said again. I think we talked about this earlier. I'd say to the
Yeah.
person, I need you to be successful here. I don't want your job. I'm only here for my job, and I think we can be a stronger team if we work together. Will you work on this with me? And eventually it will work its way through. You just need to build a trust with that person and help them understand that you're not there to take over their job.
Yeah. Yeah, Mean Girls. Yeah. Um, that's such a shame that women have to feel threatened by other women when we are so much better
Yeah,
together, right? Doing it together than doing it alone. And trying to um, cut the legs
yeah,
out from under
yeah,
other women by being mean. Yeah,
yeah.
that's such a shame. And I hope that we can. I mean, I believe that every woman, especially women leaders, need a village.
Hmm.
of women who get it. I mean, we get it, right? We understand the challenges
Yes.
for women in the workplace. We've been there,
Yeah.
30 years, you and I, we've been doing this stuff. And we recognize that we are so much better together
Yeah.
than and supporting each other and lifting each other up and sharing stories and helping people get better at what they do by sharing skills, teaching,
Right.
all of that, coaching, feedback, collaboration, brainstorming, all of that stuff. When we get together and do that kind of stuff, we all leave better.
Yes. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we just need more of that. We need more of that. So, what fuels your fire
Oh,
when you talk about or think about uh, the way you do things, right? Exceeding expectations. What fuels you to do that?
I'm fiercely competitive.
Ah,
I do think that it comes down to I was an athlete in my younger years, and I love winning. So there's a lot of business wins that are like winning a game or a track meet or something like that for me. So that's exciting. That does fuel me. I love that challenge. From a personal perspective, my family, my girls, and my husband are everything to me. So on the days that I want to have a little pity party because I'm tired and things aren't going the way that I wanted, or I have an unexpected loss in one of my challenges, I just think, gosh, just get back up. And I have some amazing role models in my life, including my husband, who just no matter how he gets knocked down, he gets back up stronger every time. And so, yeah, I think the how else can I say this? I'm thinking about what else fuels me. As I have had the courage over the last year and a half to start the business and try new things and take leaps of and push my fears away to try new things because I thought that there was the potential for success on the other side, it's working out. And I'll say, wow, that actually wasn't so hard. And then I want to try it again, and I'm motivated to try it again. And like I said, success breeds kind of success, and you continue to develop a confidence, and that's exciting to me. I just want to keep seeing what's behind the next door, and keep trying for things. So really
mm,
encourage people to kind of put their fears aside, not
yeah,
only their own personal fears, but those voices of the people that are in their life that are afraid of risk, that say, hey, maybe you shouldn't try that and don't do that. And that's risky. Well, you know what? You could sit there where you're doing and not make any progress, or
yep,
you can go for it.
yep.
It's I'm motivated by that. My family, by learning what's on the other side, and these winning feelings.
Yeah, you remind me a little bit. A couple of words are popping up for me as you were talking. Resilience is one of them. So that the ability to have done it enough times to know that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And when it does, there is such a great uh, feeling, right,
Yeah,
that comes with that, that
yeah,
it is motivational, right?
yes.
So the other word that comes to me is one that one of my mentors, I want to talk to you about mentors too. One of my mentors always said to me, why not?
Yeah,
Right? You
yeah,
got this thing in front of you, it's a challenge in front of you, why not tackle it? See what
right,
happens if you go over it or around it or under it.
right.
You got lots of options. Why not?
Yes, yes. I love that, and I've been practicing that more and more,
Yeah.
and it feels good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't. They're not all wins all the time, but there's more
Right.
wins than there are fails. And
And the
love that.
failures are who said this? Winston Churchill? Failure is not fatal?
No, no, it's not, and I
It's not.
definitely learn from them each time.
Right, right. So
Um,
the word failure in my book is one that should be just erased from the dictionary, right? Erased, erase, right?
well,
Yeah,
what can we call it? It's an
yeah,
outcome that was unexpected
yeah, yeah. So
to learn from.
what did Thomas Edison say? He didn't fail to create the light bulb. He just found 10,000 ways that didn't work, right? And he
Yeah,
he he kept trying.
that's right.
Yeah, so we have so many examples of that in our world around us if we look, right?
Right.
At people. So it brings me to the thought about mentoring.
Yeah.
I've had some of the most fabulous mentors in my corporate career as well as in my private business
Mhm.
that have just held held me up to a higher standard
Mhm.
than I would all on my own. Tell me about the mentors in your life.
I also have had amazing mentors. And they've all been very different and at different points of my life and taught me
Mhm.
about communication, about patience. One of my earliest mentors, I don't like to use the phrase stepdad, but it was the man who married my mom when I was 10. He became an additional father figure to our family. And I did work for his family, our family businesses, when I was younger. And one of the early things he taught me was when someone gets angry, just get quieter, and that will calm someone else down. I mean, that was really, it sounds pretty simple, but he was a very calm and patient and gentle and kind man, and very opposite my very exuberant and spastic kind of personality. So that was a really cool education. Of course, my mom. My mom has always been a person to teach me about positive thinking and change the way you think to help you with different outcomes. It's the concept of mindfulness and visualization, in athletics that all kind of merge together. Um, the gentleman that offered me a position in government contracting outside of my own small business, it gave me an amazing opportunity. His name was Tim, and he taught me so many things, two really profound things that I'll share with you. Number one, someone else's fire isn't your emergency,
Mm,
because I am very reactionary to solve that problem. So I would jump and leap, and he would just sit very calmly and he'd say, well, did you gather all six sides of the story? And I'll say, but there were only two people involved. He'll say, there's always more than
yeah,
two sides to every story. But he
right.
also told me a very important small business one. This is great for your entrepreneurs and small business owners. At one point, we decided to close our small business. It had been struggling for a little bit. We survived the 2008 economy, and my husband just wasn't happy there anymore. And he said to me, Steph, choosing to close a business because it's struggling or because you're not getting out of it what you want anymore, whether it's positive energy or money or whatever the case may be, is a good business decision. It's not
Mm,
failing. And until he told me that, it never even dawned on me, because my husband and I are just work hard, get it done, be successful kind of mentality.
right, right.
It felt like quitting if we were going to close the small business. And we were
Mm,
doing everything we could to not do that and maintain the employment for the 20 or so people that at the end were there with us. They were our family, but it was a good business decision. And until he shared that wise information with me, it never occurred to me. And I think that's so important for small business owners. It's okay, and we can move on to the next thing.
right,
It's not
right,
failing.
right.
So many more great mentors after that, but some
Yeah.
things that have just been amazing.
Well, I love the way you describe the mentors in your life because they come in all shapes and sizes and in different parts of your life, right?
Yes,
They can be family members, they can be neighbors,
absolutely.
and they can also be in your business, right?
Yeah,
In the corporate world or in the small business world. So where you find your mentors depends on what you need
absolutely.
mentoring on. And, very, what is the old adage? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So,
I agree. I was going to get all roofy on you and say something like that, but I'm a firm believer that people cross paths in each other's lives for a reason. And again,
mhm,
your eyes just need to be open
yep,
to understand, why is this person here at this time of my life? And sometimes it's because you need them or they need you. And sometimes there's a mutual benefit.
yeah,
We don't always understand that, but there have been so many people that have come and stayed or come and gone
right,
that have served a purpose to teach me
right.
something. And I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah. I believe that people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And, and there's nothing wrong with any one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I have one last question and then we're going to have to wrap.
Okay.
You have a golden rule about creating a team you told me about.
I
I
do.
want you to share that, would you?
Yes. I think that a team is created by optimizing the skills and abilities of each person. I think skills and abilities often come from what people enjoy performing in their work, but developing a team with a wide variety of skills and abilities. And frankly, when I develop a team, it's usually skills and abilities that I don't have,
Hmm.
but that makes for a very well rounded team. And I encourage individuals to look at folks that are different from them to build that well rounded team.
That is such good advice. Such good advice. Thank you, Steph.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
sharing that.
Thank you for
All
asking.
right. We are running out of time. It goes
Oh,
fast, doesn't
it
it?
did. It
Yeah.
did.
So, to wrap this up for us, what are the key takeaways from our conversation here today?
Yeah, my Stephisms. Don't let fear stand in the way of achieving and trying something new to bring you the happiness that you need and deserve. You can always change your situation. No one makes you stay in a workplace or a relationship where you're not happy. You can choose to make a change, and taking advantage of individuals' skills and abilities, your own skills and abilities to find happiness in the workplace is critical to success. All of those are foundational ways to say, like, life is short and we need to take advantage of every day and live it to the fullest.
Oh, that's such a great way to end. Yeah, one day at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, be present. Stand in it. Stand in the gap. Yeah,
Stand in the
love that.
gap.
Steph, it's been a delight to have you here. I've just really enjoyed this conversation with you. And I know that there are going to be some people out there who are going to want to know how to get in touch with you, connect with you in one way, shape, or form. What's the best way for them to do that?
So probably stephaniewarlick.com. My other website is 5footview.com. That is my consulting business. But stephaniewarlick.com has all of my activities going on right now with my books and my speaking. So lots of opportunities to reach me on that website.
That is fabulous. And all the links for Steph are going to be below in the show notes. Stephanie, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks so much
Maria.
for being here.
It was really nice talking to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right. And for those of you who are watching and listening, I appreciate that you're a part of this community. So if you enjoyed this episode, please, as I said before, Subscribe, leave a comment, click a star. Let us know what you think about it. Creating and sharing resources is just one of my favorite things to do. And another favorite thing is being a career and life coach for women leaders navigating challenging times and helping them get unstuck, explore new possibilities, and find harmony in their careers and lives. So if something in this episode resonates and you'd like a fresh perspective about your situation, reach out. Let's talk. As I said, the links for Stef and me are in the show notes below. And then let's meet again here next Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, for another inspiring conversation. Because you know what? I believe it's our time to thrive. So let's thrive together. Until next time, I'm María Tomás-Keegan, helping you turn transition into triumph.